What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Squawk and Seas podcast, your favorite Pokemon podcaster's favorite Pokemon podcast. You were so right. I knew I forgot until you did it that I was going to notice it when you did it this time.
God.
To pick up the curtain for a second, George does this little like finger guns thing. Apparently he's been doing this for weeks and I haven't noticed it. So I'm either dense or George is really good at hiding his hands on his webcam. But
it's hilarious. I was like, I don't know how he's not said anything about this yet. I do it every week.
I was like honestly flabbergasted. I missed it, but yeah. Welcome back to the Squawk and Seas podcast, everyone. My name is Kyle Koopa Rios, and I am joined, as I am every week, by my good friend, the Pony Bottle Champ, who was absent last week. So I can't say every week now. Most weeks now, I guess. But Mr. George Fabre, George, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Oh, I mean, I was 1 week. You can't say most weeks. It was 1 week that I took. I was on a work trip, so no, I did miss it. But listen, I listened to the episode with you and Emily, and it was fantastic. You guys are pros. What can I say? I might get replaced. I think I'm getting replaced. If I'm getting fired, just tell me if I'm getting fired. All right.
Hey man, just bring in your playbook. Or
oh man,
do like they do in Hard Knocks. Just take him to the general manager's office.
I knew this day was coming.
Hey, listen. Pack up your desk. You want a box? I can get you a box, like a printer paper box for your stuff. No, listen. We missed you last week. Again, shout out to Emily for stepping in and co-hosting with me on last week's episode. Everyone seemed to really enjoy it. And because it's official on the website, we can congratulate Emily for getting commentary on the San Antonio Regionals this upcoming weekend. So claps to her.
Snaps.
Yeah, claps and snaps to her. I'm really happy for her. It's good that she's getting another crack at this. And I'm excited for how she's going to do. So that just puts more pressure on us to do well this weekend. So that way our friends can talk us up to a bunch of strangers on the internet. So
that'd be cool.
How that goes. That'd be pretty sick. It'd be pretty sick.
Do you know you're playing this weekend? Because I got no idea.
I have like a rough idea what I'm playing this weekend. I'm like pretty locked in, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
Okay.
We got a pretty decent show to cover this week, as we usually do. We do have a regional to talk about in Birmingham, England. You have to say it that way, or the Brits will throw rocks at you because it's not pronounced Birmingham as it is in Alabama.
Like, I know that they created the language, but where do they find the U at the end of there? It's not there.
I guess you're right. Perhaps I think it's Birmingham. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm not British. I can't speak on this. So, but yeah, we got that to talk about. It's been again other than a pretty slow week. We're going to talk about our preparations leading up to the San Ambronio Regional Championships coming this weekend. And again, we're going to have our favorite this or that question game, Squawk or Seas. But yeah, George, you were noticeably absent last week on a work trip that you forgot you were taking until about 2 days before you left.
Dude, we did that podcast the week before. I'm like, yeah, I'm pumped for Philly, dude. And then we're talking about, all right, how are we going to get there and everything. I'm like, guys, I am shot out because I have a 7:45 a.m. flight on Sunday. What was I thinking? How do you forget that?
Yeah, you find ways to surprise me every day. Honestly, that was like a legendary, just like burnt out of your brain like moment. Like George, being friends with George is honestly one of God's gifts because it's like the broken clock being like right, but it's like 3 times a day you'll get like something right out of it. But
yeah, it's funny.
It's never a dull moment.
It's it was a work trip. Like, it wasn't just like maybe that's why I, didn't, because it was like for work and in my mind it wasn't like vacation. Maybe that's why I forgot. I don't know. But
yeah,
I did go to San Diego. It actually was a lot of fun. I didn't know this, but the 2 founders of my the company I work for were actually professional poker players.
Okay. That's
yeah. And I probably should have knew that. I probably shouldn't admit that to the world. Like, you're supposed to look up your bosses before you take a job. But I worked here 3 years. And I just found this out. And, we had our meetings and everything. But then in the last night, we had a poker night. and I actually won a heads up match against one of them. So I'm pretty much a professional poker player now.
Yeah, by the transitive property, you can now play in the World Series of Poker. So
Yeah, that's how these things work, right?
I hope so. So now how much of those poker skills do you think will translate into Pokemon this weekend?
I would like to think some, but realistically, probably none.
I would say having a poker face is kind of a skill. Um, you can I've think I played a I don't think it wasn't at a regional. It was at like a cup or challenge or something. But like, I sold like a really like sour face to my opponent that like my hand was really bad that they or like that they had Iono me or something like that or whatever. Uh, and then they basically did exactly what I wanted them to, the exact opposite of what I wanted them to do of what I was selling. So I don't know.
You
Sometimes
know,
having a good poker face is a lost skill in this game.
maybe that's like what I'm missing. Maybe I just haven't put that skill I have out there because I usually when I brick, everybody knows it. These sand
Yeah.
stinks. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus, what is this? Like
Yeah.
I verbalize a lot of it. Maybe that's why I do poorly. They're like, oh, this guy's hand stinks. I'm not going to Iono him. I could probably get Iono to better hands.
Maybe. I think we got to work on selling the no nothing face. Only assume your opponent. Always make your opponent assume you have the gas so that they'll Iona you out of the junk that you're sitting on. So
Yeah.
we'll practice that this weekend.
Yeah,
But I'm glad you had a good time
be
on
the
your
missing
trip.
piece. Yeah, thanks, man. The one thing I will say though about San Diego, like I'd never been to California. It was my first time. There was no fires in San Diego where we were, so I was clear of that, thankfully. But a lot colder than I thought it would be. Like
Yeah.
40 degrees in the morning. I thought I was over here escaping winter, and joke was on me.
Yeah, that's a trap you'll fall into when you like go to the West Coast. Now, obviously, if you go during summertime, that's different. During the warmer months, it's going to be a lot warmer. But you'll assume it's like, oh, it's California. It's going to be warm year round. I used to go to a Smash tournament every January out in Oakland, California, and San Jose. So up in NorCal, it's a way colder. So it's the same deal. You wake up in the morning, it's like 40, 50 degrees. It's like, whoa. But then like by the time the sun hits you, like a California 60 is like a New Jersey 70. So like everybody knows I'm a tourist because I'm walking around like a jack wagon with like shorts and a t-shirt on, and they're all wearing like Patagonia jackets and like long pants, and I'm just like, what a bunch of cowards you guys are. So it'll sneak up on you though, depending on where you are.
Speaking of the weather, the weather in Texas right now, they're about to freak out again. I think their governor might flee the state again.
Yeah, that's we picked a great weekend to travel. We'll say that. It has been, for those of you not in the know or don't live in the Northeast, it has been bone chillingly cold here the last couple of days. It is, as the kids say, brick as hell outside. It is so cold. I am a staunch winter hater. I hate snow. I hate being cold. It like
Same.
bothers. I can't stand it. I will rather sweat my ass off than be freezing to death. So this is not a good time of week for us, and we thought we'd be escaping some of that by going to San Antonio, Texas. And granted, I did check the weather forecast today. By the time we get there, the weather does warm up a little bit. But the next couple of days in San Antonio, yikes, it's cold. So hope you guys are running your water and doing everything that they advise you to do. I think I read something that like the Gulf of Mexico, if it's still named that by the time this podcast comes out, I think they had their first like winter winter storm warning like ever. I think I don't know if that's actually accurate or not, but I saw there was a lot of snow in New Orleans today, which is like I guess that's uncommon for them because they're so far south.
Yeah, I didn't know that happened there either.
I read something about that, but that's crazy, man. Like the winter storm front is here, and it kind of reminds me of going because I think around this time last year was when Charlotte was, and if you remember, it was also very cold that weekend when we went to Charlotte. It sucked.
Yeah, I'm just starting to realize that maybe they were right. Maybe Al Gore was right about global warming. He might have been onto something.
That guy might have been onto something. So, but we'll that's a podcast for a different day. Either way, the weather should be tamer by the time we get to San Antonio. I'll pack a pair of shorts out of stubbornness, even though I doubt I'm going to be able to wear them. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll give it a test run by the time we check in. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I think as we're both preparing for San Antonio, we've been talking about it a lot on the podcast since that's the next thing that we're both going to, as well as the next major regional for the United States. I thought this would be a good episode to talk about because then it's also been kind of a slow news week. To kind of talk about the regional experience and how to prepare for your first regional. It's a new year. A lot of people are going to start going to more stuff. Kind of weird that we're almost like a decent chunk of the way through the regional season already. I keep forgetting there's like less regionals than there were last year. I think there's only 9 or 10 this year in North America.
They do feel very spread out, and I've kind of noticed that. I was like,
there's no majors for the last month.
Yeah, like the last one we went to was Toronto, and I'm like, it wasn't that long ago. And I look at the calendar, I'm like, it's been almost 2 months since that happened. It feels like it just was yesterday. Time flies, man.
Yeah, the fact that it's already in the middle of the end of January is sickening, and time is fleeting. And spend time with your loved ones, or go play Pokemon cards, whatever you want to do. But
play Pokemon cards.
I figured this would be a good episode to kind of talk about our regional experiences, going to our first regionals and how you at home could prepare for your first regional if you're planning on going to any of the ones happening in North America. If you happen to live here in Canada, Mexico, whatever part of the world you live in, if there's a Pokemon regional you plan on going to.
I don't think we have that outreach yet, but that'd be cool if we did.
They'd be cool, but I think it'd be. I think it'd be cool to talk about. People seem to enjoy our story times.
Actually, I think we have one listener in Canada.
Nice. I hope
Hamza.
So. There we go. Shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
Checks in the mail, pal. We really appreciate your support here. But I will ask you one question before we get into that because you weren't here last week to talk about so any of the new cards that got revealed. Do you have any thoughts on the trainers Pokemon? Anything?
Oh, the trainers? I mean, I don't know. I also was the one that was like, okay, what do you guys want from Prismatic when they gave the sign up? And I was like, I'm not buying that set. So I don't know. I just don't get excited. I mean,
right here, baby.
Well, you did gift me a Badoo, so you are a good friend for that.
That's another thing we should talk about too. Is just like the rollout for Prismatic has been insane.
Yeah,
it has not been great.
But the trainers Pokemon, I mean, Hop is broken, right? That's pretty much what the consensus is.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think the more I'm looking into this stuff because the rest of the set got revealed over the last couple days or so. There hasn't really been anything like outstanding to talk about. So it looks like the format might be going to a slower place, which I personally am on board with. I think we can talk more about that and rotation, after we get back from San Antonio. I will be, you have to go to EUIC still, so you're gonna still be focusing on the matter at hand. I will be playing in the future a little bit more freely as we move forward, but we can talk more about that in depth. Later.
I have been playing a couple games on live for this next format for Prismatic, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all already. It's very weird, and people are playing some crazy things on live. I can't tell if it's live or the format, or people don't know what to do.
Dude. It's live. Like the ladder is ever since they like updated it to like an elo system. Like I've made this joke in our group chat, but like Arceus rank has taken me to places that I wouldn't go with a gun. Like there's so much jank and nonsense out there. Like I'll take screenshots on my computer like every now and then of just like the absolute garbage that people are putting together. And I don't know if it's serious. You know what? The thing I hit the most, I feel like, is like that Arcanine EX deck with Charizard. I hit people playing that a lot. I hit Serena EX.
Well, I think those are people that just started the game. Isn't that like the first deck you get?
There's that. There's the Lugia deck that gives you Bibarel, which is really funny. Yeah, the default deck they give you with Lugia, like with no changes, just what the game gives you. You play it with Bibarel. Guest on the show, Esam, messaged me. He's like, "Why is Lugia so good?" Like, and he sends me a screenshot of his board set. I'm like, "You're playing with Bibarel, son. Like, brother, ew. Like, what are you doing? It's not fair, man. Some of the jank these people are putting together is.
Wait, are you summoning Star in Bibarel?
Yeah, I guess you can. It's a colorless Pokemon without a rule box. So I guess technically it fits the bill. But like, why would you ever want to do that?
I
It's
don't know.
disgusting. It's criminal.
Well,
It
maybe,
should be illegal, honestly.
maybe they're onto something.
It's so I can't stand it, man. The jank that I've seen is just like I'll hit a real deck maybe like one in every 10 matches, and even then they're like barely real decks. It's like Charizard's playing like 6 energies with like uh freaking banana hat guy, whatever like old Entei is. I forget why am I blanking on his name right now. Gouging Fire. There we go.
Gouging fire. Gouging
Like
fire.
it's just nonsense. So I think it's a little bit of and also playing under item lock is like different. It's something that you and I haven't had to do much because there
I
hasn't been item
mean,
lock in the format since we've been playing.
I'm kind of used to it because of I play 2010, but and Spirit
Sure.
Tomb, but in like current format, no, like it's scary and I don't like it one bit. I need to rare candy. I need to buddy buddy poffin. I need to do these things.
It's okay. That's why you on your first turn you play all your items and then you evolve into Charmeleon and then it's all you'll be fine. But
It is going to become more of a go second format though because of that, right?
it's gonna feel like it. I think if you're a deck that plays Badoo, it gives you that opportunity. I think for decks like Dragapult and Gardevoir, like decks that didn't have anything better to do on turn one going second than just like TM Evolution, I think this gives you a little bit more uh, like creativity, like something you can do. You can item lock your opponent for a turn. Maybe it slows them down. So, I haven't had much problem like navigating around it, but I've also been playing like turbo, like slam your face into the keyboard decks because I feel like those decks do well under item lock. They don't need a lot of maintenance after you get set up.
Right.
But I think strategies like that are going to be a lot better. Decks that have stage one draw engines are going to be strong. So we'll see. I mean, I think I think the V Star decks are going to get hampered the most. I think decks like Raging Bolt might struggle a little bit, but we'll see. I haven't really done much looking into this just because I'm kind of locked into what's going on right now. But I hope you guys got your copies of Badoo and in my case Regigigas, because trying to get product for Prismatic Evolution has been asinine. It's been tough. George doesn't George doesn't buy loose product. I usually like to buy like one ETB of a set, and it's
That's
just
not
been terrible, man.
that's not entirely true. Like if I know that there's multiple cards in a set,
Okay, yeah,
I'll buy something. But like Shrouded Fable, remember I bought like the 3-pack blister, got the whole Duskull line,
yeah, because
and
you're a
like and
loser.
Fez.
You stink. You stink.
I was like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to buy anything else.
You should honestly be ashamed of yourself. Like
It's
doing
so
that in
great.
front of me like that.
That was so
Monster.
awesome.
It was pretty funny.
I was like,
Um,
oh, Duskull, Dusclops, Dustnor, Fez. All right, we're good. We got it
yeah, I
all.
think I think this set specifically, it's very much for like the collector bros and like
Yeah.
good for them. But it's just been I hate have I hate I it's weird. I hate watching people like get in fights in like supermarkets over Pokemon products. But some of it's also kind of funny because I feel like some of these people should get shoved into lockers. Like the recent, those like I watching these videos of people just pick up like cartons of like 151 and all this stuff. It's just like it's disgusting. I feel like this happens like once every like 6 months. People just like buy out of a certain product that's on sale in a big box store, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean, the Costco videos that's what you're talking about, right? The Costco videos are just
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. Like, what are people
it's
thinking?
insane, dude. Like people are getting into fist fights over this stuff.
It's just so wild to me because I like, I guess I don't realize we're back in like a Pokemon craze. We absolutely are. I mean,
Yeah.
when you watch these videos, but my friends are starting to notice it that like don't play, and they're like, "So Pokemon is like crazy, huh? Like back in the '90s?" And I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much." And
Yeah.
they're like, "Has it always been like this?" I'm like, "I don't really know." Like, it's always been. I mean, I don't know for what the 2 years that I've been playing, every regional has been like insane. So I guess we could go back and dive into that now that we kind of talked about that
Yep.
craze about your first regional. I could tell my story about my first regional. Was Hartford, Connecticut. Was that also your first, or did you
That
go
was
one
also
before?
mine. Yeah,
That was also
that
your
was
first.
mine.
That was pre us being besties. So,
That was true. Yeah, we were like two ships in the night.
but
I don't think we ever gave a George and Kyle origin story. I don't know if we ever did that on the podcast yet.
yeah, no, I mean, you could start if you'd like, and then we could dive into the topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously when I started playing Pokemon, I'm someone that has competed in like esports events for years now. So I always had the ambition. It's like, oh yeah, I want to go check out a Pokemon regional. If I'm going to play this, I'm going to play this to to the highest level that I can. So I obviously started going around locally, and I guess it's also funny we're doing this now because I did this with Emily last week, so it's fun to get more perspective on how to get started in your local scene. um george was George and I frequented the same Friday local for a
Hmm.
long time. We're big. There's two shops in the vicinity where we live in northern New Jersey. There's a shop in Boonton, New Jersey that we go to, Highlander Games. Shout out to Rob Ara, the goat, one of the best judges on planet Earth. He's our league leader there. We play on Fridays.
Shout out
uh
to Rob.
Yep, and George would be a regular there. And then you just kind of started popping up at other places that I went. I think Dragon Eye was.
Well, no, you told me to go to Dragon Eye.
I don't remember this part, but now I feel like I was also like fat back then, so I don't remember anything before I got surgery. So
No, so we were playing because you were one of the people that always would stay after and play.
yeah,
And I remember you asked me, you're like, "Hey, do you want to play another game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I definitely want to play." Um, and you're like, "Hey, so are you going to the cup tomorrow?" I'm like, "What's a cup? What are you talking about?" They're like
yeah.
Dragon Eye Games. I'm like, "Where's that?" You're like Prams Park Mall. I'm like, "Oh, no way." I'm like, you're like, "Yeah, it's like a real tournament, not just like league play." I'm like, "So this isn't a tournament?" You're like, "No, no, no. This this is this is
Yeah, that was
just
something to
like for
say.
fun." Yeah, and you're like, "No, no, no, no. This is not. This is like a real tournament." So I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'm down. I'm not doing anything." So I showed up, and that's when I first played Omar. So we kind of did talk about this a little bit. So my
Yeah,
round one opponent was Omar, and we were playing Lost Box Mirror. And remember, I was playing the Tropius.
yeah. Rally back.
Wow, what would like? Who
You
was
were ahead of
I?
your time, man. You were ahead of your time with that one. That was some crazy stuff.
I was playing
Um,
like four different energy in that deck.
yeah, you're nuts.
I was playing like Zapdos V and Raikou. I think I was playing. I don't know if I was playing Kyogre in that deck, but then I was playing Tropius too.
you're an insane person. It was pretty
Bizarre,
sick though.
pretty
Yeah,
sick, right?
it was pretty sick. But yeah, then eventually, you'd go every Friday. You'd just be like a guy that I'd see every now and then. Uh, and then for reasons we won't discuss on the podcast, he stopped showing up for a while. So I was like, oh, okay. I don't really know what happened to this guy. He must have just not stopped playing Pokemon. And then he really showed up when again one day. I was like, oh hey, that's that face I remember. Uh, and then we went to the dive bar up the street one day after a tournament, and that's just kind
Yeah.
of the rite of passage between hanging out with people in the card shop and the hanging out with people outside. It's like, all right, let's go get a beer together. And then we just kind of started becoming better friends, and then we did go to the same regional together, but we barely saw each other, like you were saying. So
Yeah, but we sat together during like the finals. So
we did, yes, we watched finals together. I do remember
yeah,
that. So
but
and the rest is
but
history,
yeah,
as they say. So
but no, I went to the regionals and then I stopped going
that's what it
around.
was. Yes,
Yeah,
I got my wires crossed there.
yeah.
So
Because like I said, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it on the podcast, but I didn't have my cards for a while.
yeah,
Then when I finally got my cards back, and then I won custody of Gardevoir EX back, and then I started becoming a Gardevoir player, and that's when I really started to dive in to playing competitively. Then I would see Kyle all the time. I think you told me to go to FTG. You're like, yeah, on Wednesdays we go to FTG too, and I'm like, yeah, I'm down whenever, and yeah, the rest is history. Just started going to cups together, and now we have a podcast.
yeah, that's the circle of life, as I say. It's like it wasn't until like we went to Toronto like last year. It's where like I was like, oh no, like George is like George kind of needs us because I remind everyone at home that George stayed in a hostel by himself in Toronto when we went together a year ago. So
Yeah, I had a hell of a time though.
I bet you did. It was a fun time, but yeah, our first regional together in general was Hartford, Connecticut. I'm pretty mad that I started playing when I did because I missed out on the Sea Caucus regionals by like a month or two, which would have been sick because Sea Caucus is, I speak for both of us, very close to where both of us live. So
Yeah,
would
bring
have
it
been
back.
crazy.
Bring it back.
God, I wish, man. That convention center is low key really nice. It's like as close to the city as you can get without actually being in the city. Like it would have been sick.
I don't get why they don't do like. It can't be that expensive. I mean, I don't like. I can't imagine like some of these places. Like the Toronto one is. Well, Toronto was in a different location than it was last year. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. Maybe because it's just a new organizer, and I don't. I'm not sure, but
Maybe I just feel like
um,
Pokemon's just grown so exponentially that like you just might the space just might not be there. I don't know. I'm unsure.
will you think that? Well, that also that's actually a good point. Like, will they sell out of Secaucus so fast that like people will get upset? Because I feel like now they would.
Yeah, maybe.
Like how
I
like we talked about how many New Jersey people we saw in Toronto. Me and Brad when we had
yeah.
Brad on, and we are like, dude, it was like a local basically. How many people from New Jersey were there? But you know what I'll say about like preparing for your first regional, flat out, there is no preparing. You can never prepare for what you're about to walk into there. And you know who would have been great to get this conversation going, and maybe when we get him on after San Antonio, Andrew would be great to talk about because he day
Yeah.
two'd his first regional, and he literally said to me, he was like, "I think I did so well because I had no idea what to expect, and I was just playing cards." And
Yeah.
he's a decent player already, so
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I do think like in terms of like what you can actually expect is like very different than what you might set yourself into thinking what it might be. Um, I think you can prepare as much as you can. I think one key piece of advice I would advise people is if you're going to your first regional, is to find a deck that you like and give it at least like 2 to 3 weeks of playtime before you actually sit down and do it. Before you sit down and play in a regional. I can't tell you the number of times I've talked to people where like their second tournament ever just happens to be like the regional that I'm at. I watched this poor person have a panic attack at NAIC in Columbus where they got a slow play warning. And not that they were like egregiously slow playing their opponent, but they straight up had no idea what they were doing because they'd only been to one other tournament beforehand. So definitely get your feet wet with a deck, and
yeah.
like the tournament experience beforehand. I think that's the biggest thing I can say.
Well, we complain about like some of the challenges around here that do best of three for challenges,
Yeah,
but you know, like kind of important to do. You know,
playing in a best of three is really hard. Like
yeah,
time management is very much a thing. Like you have to, and we try to do this whenever we get sessions together, and then we give up after 10 minutes. It's like trying to play under a timer is way harder than it looks on paper. Like was it like 50 minutes? The best of three, yeah, best of three, 50 minutes. Like
yeah.
it's hard, man.
I mean, if you do the math on that, right, we're looking at under 20 minutes a game, about 17 minutes a game if you play three games, right?
Yeah,
So, um, it's actually under 17 minutes. 17 would be 51, right? So like just under 17 minutes a game, like, dude, that's tough to do. It's actually 16 minutes and 40 seconds each game, but just some
yeah.
quick math for you.
2 plus 2 is 6.
Yeah, but listen, I'll say another thing that I would do if I would prep, right? Like get there the night before. Don't try to get in the same day unless it's drivable. Then maybe do it. But even so, like when we go to driving ones, we always get in the night before.
Yeah,
You want to be able to check in to your Airbnb or your hotel wherever you're staying, unload your stuff, know where you're sleeping at night,
yeah,
get a good meal in, and be able to relax. A good night of sleep beforehand is, I think, crucial
Yeah.
Um, if you don't do that, it's 8:30 in the morning. Like you gotta be up and ready to go. Like we usually get to the convention center or at least leave to the convention center an hour early. I like to get there. I like to get there around 7:30.
Yeah.
Scale out, know where you're going. That's another big thing too. Like in my first couple of regionals, like the map is always different at all these regionals. You don't know where the tables are going to be, so you kind of
Yeah.
need to like scope it out a little bit. Be like, okay, here's the top tables, here's the bottom tables. I need to know where I'm going in between my rounds. Like as much as these things sound like okay, like George, like you can figure this out when you get there. It's kind of important though. Like if
Yep.
you're scrambling to find your seat, like you're going to be frantic when you sit down.
Yeah. It's really funny you mentioned that because I am historically like always like an early bird to these things. Like I like being a day early if I can get there. I like being an hour early, sometimes maybe even a little bit earlier. Because the hustle and bustle of the morning is tough, man. When I went to Hartford, actually, I did not get in until late. I don't think I went. I think I got to the convention center hotel. I think I got to the hotel I was staying in around like 7, 8 o'clock. So the convention center had closed already. So I wasn't able to check in the night before, which means I had to wake up even earlier on Saturday to go check in with everybody else that hadn't done that yet. And
Yeah,
then that's stressful.
I
It's
did the
tough,
same
man.
thing. I did the same thing. I didn't know. I had no
Yeah.
idea. And I'm like,
It's scary.
what is this line? And I hear as I'm walking in, round one pairings, and I'm like, what does this mean? What does this mean? I have no idea what any of this means. So like, yeah, get there the night before, get a good meal, get to bed early, run a few games, hang out with your buddies, whoever you're going with. If you're traveling alone, um, I don't recommend doing that for your first regional. You should go with some
No.
people that have done it before
Yeah.
because it'll help you. Maybe that's the tip right there in itself. Go with people that have done it before so they can show you the right way to do it.
Yeah, I think that's all good advice to have. And also just traveling by yourself is also kind of like it gets lonely, man. Like it's a lot of time by, and I know some people are just like that, like, but like
I
that's
like
also
it, but
yeah, it's, because you're a freak. That's
I make
no,
friends everywhere I go.
that is true. you you were like a house cat as a person. You were like you could honestly make friends with anybody. It's honestly an incredible skill.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, I went to the bar with some dudes from Wisconsin after Toronto Regional, and I was by myself. They're like, George, where'd you go? I'm like, got some brews with some dudes. They're like, who? I'm like, I don't know.
you're 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 an incredible human being. But and also like, but also in all seriousness, it's like it's also to have to. I like going to these things because it's like it's a way for us to travel with our friends. Like that's always fun.
Yeah.
I think we keep good company. The memories are fun. When we all went to NAIC together and there was like 10 of us in an Airbnb, that was a lot of fun. Traveling around was kind of annoying, but when we all got together, hey, it was a good time.
I will say now that we have the travel sizes down to like 4 or 5 of us, it does make it a lot easier.
Hey, it's pretty sick.
Yeah,
it
it's
is nice.
yeah, because you're like I think all the last Airbnbs we had, almost everybody's had a bed,
Yeah.
and it's been reasonably priced, and also like getting into Ubers, are like super easy as well. So, well, actually, no, NAIC, I think there was like 10 of us actually down in New Orleans.
Yeah, so it was easy to split. We just had to take, two teams of
Two,
cars. So,
yeah,
one was Avengers East Coast, one was Avengers West Coast. So we had to,
yeah,
figure all that stuff out. So, um, I do also recommend is just like, getting a good night's sleep is important. This is something I can also harp on. Like, as someone who was very unhealthy for a while and sleeping was very, very difficult for me, uh, the amount of difference being able to like sleep at night makes before something like this big, this mentally grueling. Because that's the biggest thing about these tournaments. I talk about this all the time when people ask me about it. Is that like the mental stamina you need to be locked in for 8, 9 rounds of Swiss is unlike anything I've ever had to do in a competitive setting. So I think just being able to sleep at night is huge. So
yeah.
uh,
I mean,
don't
you
underestimate those 8 hours.
and like the same thing talking about getting there early. Like you and I are coffee guys. Like we have to get our
Oh
fix in the morning.
yeah.
I can't go into a tournament without doing that. I
No.
I, I would not know what's going on. I'd be delirious still. Like I
Yeah.
need to like that was great. Like in Toronto, I was able to find the Tim Hortons on the way. We just put in the order and then picked it up and went right into the convention center. So listen, I think at the end of the day, I think what we're both saying is like, don't go in and like, like those, like those memes where they're like just raw dogged this flight 6
Yeah.
hours. Like, don't raw dog the fucking the tournament. Don't raw
Yeah.
dog the regional. It's not a good. It's not going to do you well. But yeah, to what you said before, when you go to pick a deck, make sure that you pick a deck that you can play fast because, like we said, 50 minutes does go by faster you can. And my first regional, you know what I played like an idiot? Lost Box Kyogre Baby Moltres. What was
Oh, you're an
that?
insane person.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I saw like Alex Shemansky like did well with it, and I was like, "Oh, this list is sick. I'm going to play this." No, I I lost a lot of games, 1-0, because we just didn't get through, and I lost once, and I think my opponents were like, "Yeah, we're just not going to finish the second game," and I'm fine with that. So you know, knowing how to play the deck, knowing how to play it fast. And I think that's something like Michael Bio, when we had him on, was saying, like, just play fast,
Yeah.
no, and,
Play
but
crisp.
before,
That's important too. So like,
yeah, play crisp though. Don't play fast and make
make mistakes.
mistakes.
Yeah, because that's
Right.
how you get in trouble. So, and something on top of that is like, I get this. This is a topic of conversation a lot, where like, people are just like, oh, like I play to my locals is junk. And people tell me all the time like my decks are bad. Like, what do I do then? It's like if all you know how to play is United Wings, if all of you've played leading up to whatever regional you're going to is United Wings, play United Wings. You might not have the best time, you might not have the most fun time, because sometimes you're just gonna run into blenders of people that are playing top meta decks that might give you a hard time. But if that's what you're comfortable with, play it. I'm always going to tell players to lean on the side of comfortability, and something that you know how to pilot well. That's why I played Lugia to 3 out of 5 regionals I've gone to,
Yeah.
because it's just like I just know how to play the best
Yeah.
when I'm not playing too hot.
I think now this is 1, 2, 3. This may be my 6th or 7th regional, plus without or including NIC. I'm not entirely sure. But even so, I'm like we were talking last night, right? In our group chat, I may
Yep.
just go back to the comfortable pick. I may just do that. I might play Zard. I don't know yet, right? I've been practicing Drago, but it's not feeling good, right? And sometimes the answer is just like you said, Kyle. Play what you're most comfortable with.
I had that same feeling going to NAIC when all the group was playing Gardevoir, and every game of Gardevoir I played felt abysmal. So then I took my Lugia deck with me. I had a Lugia list that, shout out to Jesse Parker for posting a pretty cracked Lugia list on Twitter like a couple days beforehand. It was playing the thumping Snorlax, but it played like 2 therapeutic energy, so you couldn't put yourself to sleep. So it was like, you could do decent amounts of damage, and that was back when like Lost Box and everything was popular. So it's like, I leaned on a comfortable pick, and I had a much more enjoyable experience. And I think what a lot of this also boils down to is have fun. Don't stress yourself out about a lot of almost not everybody's going to win the tournament. So, I think, you're going to have yourself, you're going to have a much more enjoyable experience if you're just having fun with it. Don't
Yeah,
get too caught up in the numbers of it all.
like I said earlier, what Andrew's goal was just to play as best as he can, you know. And he was like, if I day 2, that'd be sick, but I'm not expecting to make day 2. And look, he played the best he could. He took every round for what it was, and excuse me, and he ended up making day 2. So I think that's like really the best advice, and just go play the best you can. Take the deck that you're most comfortable with, that you know how to play. Get there early, and like you said, have fun.
Bring snacks. That's a good one too. I'm a big I'm because they don't have lunch breaks anymore. That used to be a thing. So definitely bring some snacks with you. I'm a big protein bar guy. Especially because like now post surgery, if I don't eat for long periods of time, my blood sugar will crash and I'll pass out. That almost happened to me in an AIC, and that was not fun. Um, so definitely bring snacks with you if you know that you're going to be playing all day. And also an underrated thing is I want when you get to the convention center, you need to find where the hidden bathroom is. Every convention center has the secret bathroom. You gotta trying to use the bathroom as speaking from a man's perspective. Using the bathroom in a convention center is like it's disgusting. It's just it's pigs at the trough. It's just filth. So
Yeah.
trying to find that quiet bathroom where you can hear yourself think is is underrated. So when if you scout high, if you got to go to the third floor convention, third floor conference center bathroom, so be it, man. It's worth it. It's worth the extra 5 minute walk. Trust me.
Yeah. Trying to think of anything else that I wish I knew on my first one. Um, oh, you know what? Also, I would say though is like, listen, if you don't end up making day two, right, and you booked your flight out because you want to make sure that like you're still there, right, and you're not playing the second day in the tournament. Make sure you have some kind of plan on what to do that day.
Yeah,
Like I feel like just going back to the convention center, sure you could play sides, but also like I think it's great to like explore that city a little bit.
yeah. I'm a big proponent of like exploring the city that you're in. And again, there is plenty of stuff for you to do. Like if you want to enter side events, go for it. If you want to play in like in like the random game setups they have, you can do that. If you want to also stream, you can do that. That's always a lot of fun. Um, but I am always a big proponent of sightseeing. I think that's the best part about traveling. Um, Especially because being in the convention center, you're going to be in the convention center all day on Saturday. Like you're not going to spend it there all day on Sunday. Like it's asinine. It's
Yeah,
go outside, touch some grass, especially if it's nice outside. So
yeah.
I'm a big proponent of just walking around. You guys went to the aquarium or went near the aquarium in Baltimore. I didn't go with you, so
We didn't go to the aquarium. What did we do in Baltimore?
didn't you go to like by where like the waterfront was?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's by the aquarium. Yeah, that's by the
Yeah.
aquarium.
You're near. You're
We didn't
near the
go.
aquarium.
Well, we did go into the aquarium. We went to the gift shop, but only the gift shop.
Mm. We'll go
Don't know
next
what.
year.
I don't know why.
Apparently, there's looking towards the future. Apparently, the aquarium in Atlanta is pretty sick. From all my friends that I've talked to, so all my friends that have been, they say that it's might be the best aquarium, on planet Earth.
Fun fact: Baltimore Regional Aquarium is ranked top 4 in the nation.
I've never been to an aquarium before, so I'm kind of mad at. I'm kind of
What?
no, I've never been. I'm uncultured. I'm a loser. I stink. What do
What?
you want from me?
What a miss! And like on Fridays in Baltimore, it's like half off on Friday
Yeah,
nights. What a
we
miss!
were
And
gonna go. The problem was
I
we planned too much stuff.
we did plan too much stuff.
And that is that just brings me to the one other thing I'll add on here before we move on with the episode. We like to do little things within our group that are like I guess now becoming traditions for us. One of them is getting dinner together on Fridays. To each their own. I mean, I'm sure getting dinner with your friends is like not a new concept at
No.
these things, but like George will always like to find like a nice place for us to go out to eat. As a group. The place we went into in Baltimore was very nice. I like that place a lot. The place we went to in New Orleans for Brad Brown's birthday, that was fun when we were down there that first day.
I will say, when you put it out there for a place on Friday, I was a little relieved because it's, like, I will, like, as much as I do enjoy finding places, it's also like another job almost, you
You've done
know?
a lot of the planning so far, so I took it upon myself to.
I really
I wanted to help you with something on this trip.
thank you.
I've been begging for you to let me help you with something. So,
Yeah, and the thing is, like, people may like misconstrue that like I'm like controlling and like I like to
no,
control everything.
yeah,
I just like I don't trust other people to do it, right? So like I'll just do it, right?
yeah,
So when you said that you're taking something off my plate, I was like, I love you, Kyle. Thank you so much. You know, like I was like, I hate being. I am a leader in a sense, but like also
it's
sometimes
stressful.
I just want to chill. You know, just
Yeah,
want to
you
be a
just want to be
chill
a.
guy.
Yeah, no, I took it upon myself to find dinner for us on Friday, and
Yeah, and the
we
place
found a
looks
pretty.
great.
Yeah, I'm very excited. That's also half the reason I like to travel to these places. I just like eating food. Food rules.
Food is awesome. Food's cool.
Like one of the like going to Charlotte again. I had a lot of fun. You know, Charlotte was a less than ideal regional for me because I played cloth and I got my butt kicked. But some of the one of my favorite memories from the weekend was going to that one dive bar, the thirst out at the Thirsty Beaver, with you and Brad, and then we found that really sick like burger restaurant that was like right across the street. That was cool.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that's
I mean, we're gonna find a lot of places in San Antonio, and you know, the Airbnb that we're staying in, we're in an ideal spot. Like we're getting good at this. So listen to our recommendations for your first regional.
yeah.
Tie it up. We'll tie it up there.
Yeah, again, have fun, pick something you're comfortable with. I like the convention center hot dogs when I'm playing bad. They always make me play better. So it's a real thing.
It's like a Neopet.
Yeah. Man, we got to bring that game back.
I gotta find the cards.
You'll find it at some point.
They're gone.
But leading up to San Antonio, there was a regional this past weekend, and it was the first major tournament in a minute. There hasn't been anything. I think this is the last major tournament in like a month in general. The last big one was Toronto. Yeah, it's almost exactly a month, at least for in our neck of the woods. There was like a Champions League, a Korean League. There's also regional in Rio Rio de Janeiro this weekend as well that we can touch on. But that was won by Fabio Ignasilvia with a popular deck this weekend. Palkia Tarapagos, which also finished second this weekend in Birmingham. Yeah, that was. Hold on, let's pull up the regional here. There we go.
You know, it really makes me sick though when we open it up and right at the bottom there, our good friend Andrew Malik is on the Limitless page for that 164th at Toronto Regional. Makes me happy and also makes me sick at the same time. You know,
it's honestly quite disgusting. But yeah, Birmingham was won by Ashvind, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. That's a hard name, bro. Cool guy though. I think he just ran it back with his Charizard list from. No, it's different than his list from Stuttgart.
little
He got
different.
second. It.
Yeah, a little bit different. Still rocking the Pokestop, and if you're
Brave
playing
man.
if you're playing Pokestop, you definitely need to rock that Pal Pad, which is been something that's not been included in Charizard. If I was playing it, I would not be playing Pokestop. That's a move, right? Another thing that he's not playing in this, and I think it was just a meta call for him, knowing it, no canceling Cologne. Just saying, hey, if I get hit with some kind of control deck, it is what it is.
Yeah, I guess control not as prominent here this weekend. Sander Wojcik, control god, was on Pidgeot control this weekend, as I'm sure he was, as he usually is. But no, it very brave meta call. Knocking that card out. He went up in finals against Jonathan Sharpling, who again was playing Palkia Noctowl. And as it's listed on Limitless, it's also Terapagos in there. I think the biggest weak thing I'm taking out of this is that this deck that was kind of like an underrepresented archetype, I think people are going to start looking with some serious validity going into San Antonio. George, what do you think?
Yeah. You're talking about Jonathan's list, the Palkia?
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
the archetype in general. So
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying it for a while, like to Andrew. I'm like, the list is just broken, man. Like, it's just very good. Three fan wrote them. Don't think you need that. Don't think you need a barrel. I think it's consistent enough without it, but he got second. So what the heck do I know? But listen, Pidgeot is really good for a reason. You go get whatever card you want. Uh, Noctowl, really good for a reason. Go get any trainer cards you want. And it's a single prizer sitting on your bench. And it's almost has no sense to ever knock it out. So it's like the perfect bench sitter. You want to knock
yeah,
out the hoo hoots so you can't use the Noctowls. You set up enough hoo hoots though, we're still going to Noctowl one way or another. I don't know. Like the deck is just and then Palkia being able to do so much damage with Area Zero, hitting 320. Include that Kieran to knock out those big Pokemon EX to do that 30 extra damage. It's good. I don't know
yep.
what else to say. It's good.
Yep, I think everybody sort of felt like that the meta has been pretty ironed out. We were all anticipating that Drago was going to be the most played deck in the room. It was. I don't have the exact meta shares in front of me, but I believe that Charizard was in there at the top percentages as well. So, the two decks that we all thought were going to be pretty good. I don't believe Raging Bolt was on the graphic at all, if I'm correct. But someone will correct me on that. But
Yeah, I got it right here. We were looking at day one, 13% Drago, 10% Charizard, 7% Raging Bolt,
okay, there's just very
6%
low percent.
Arcalodon,
Yeah.
6% Gardevoir, 6% Thorns Pult. And then the conversion into day two, actually Goldengo. Or no, that was the best of the rest of day one. I'm sorry, that's not the conversion. I was gonna say, how did Goldengo
Yeah.
convert? But yeah, that was the day one stats at least. I think that's pretty fair though, right? I think those are probably the top six decks in the format right now.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think Arcalonon's definitely been like the hot deck that everyone's been sort of hyping up for the last week or so. Um, Mostly just because you're really just looking for, hey, how does this deck do against Reggie Drago? Which is like the big bad in the room. Arcalodon is very efficient. It powers itself up. It it has 300 HP, so it's right out of range of Drago being able to one shot it, which is huge. Um, and then you play things like the list that got top 16 uh, played the puppet offering Bayonet that lets you put a supporter back in your hand if you lost zone it. So that's cool. You can tank big hits. You can use Professor Turtle Scenario to pick yourself up. And this deck is just very efficient. It's just 3 Arcalodon. I'm just gonna keep punching you as hard as I can, over and over again. So I think that deck is proven to be very popular recently. It's littered here throughout day the top results here, especially with the Origin Form Dialga. This deck looks like it's been the best home for Scramble Switch, the new ace spec that came out in Surging Sparks. It also plays Scoop of Cyclone, which is good. Just being able to tank big hits is like kind of like a luxury right now, which is huge. And in the same realm with Palkia, it's a deck that hits really hard. It's got a really good Drago matchup. You're able to punch them harder than I think Drago's going to be able to punch you in most instances. So I've played against this deck a lot on the ladder. It's not an easy matchup. So I don't know how much this is going to have, on the effect for San Antonio, but I think it's going to be a little bit more popular than it was at Birmingham. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think Arcalodon will definitely go up in usage. I think Palkia, Noctowl will go up, just because like they're just both lists that like you start playing it, you won't master it, but like you'll be like, I can win games with this, and maybe people won't be ready for it. Um, What do you think are some surprises that might happen from San Antonio from looking at some of these results, or maybe stuff that don't show on the results at all?
I actually think that Terapagos Dustnor might be kind of a sleeper pick this weekend. This is an archetype that's been kind of like lost to, it's and not I want to say lost, but like it was never the most played archetype, but it converted very well in a day two in a lot of regionals, like earlier at the end of last year. Um, and you see one here in top eight, Daniel Powell. You see one here in top 16, a little guy by the name of Torn Reckliffe was playing this. Um, Again, just another one of those decks where Knocked Owl really puts this deck into a level where it's very, very strong. You can search out whatever you need. You also play the Pidgeot in here to help you get whatever you need. Certain builds of the deck were playing the Buffalant to make you tankier. Towards list was playing the 1/1 Regidrago V Star to use that Legacy Star to get your, to get items back in your hand. So that's a fun wrinkle in how this deck works now.
Yeah, but is that real? He's always just doing
I
something
don't know,
goofy.
man. Shout out to Tim Franklin or Tim Danklin on the internet. He's one of Australia's best players, and he's been riding the Regidrago V Star in your Tropicals list for a while too. So I don't know, man. It makes sense. So I see it. I think this deck archetype has always been very good. It's a bit more of a thinking man's deck. You play the Dustnor in there as well to like strategically, move damage, to put damage places to where you can utilize Briar or take take multiple knockouts in one turn. So I think if I'm looking at like, there's the field is so wide open. It has been this way for a while. I just think that this tournament just kind of like shine a spotlight on some of those other decks that we've already been thinking about, but we see it a little bit more in action. So
Yeah, I think one list that I think in, um, you know, San Antonio, because I think the Americans do like this a little bit more. I don't know if you could see my screen here.
I can, yes.
What do you think about this?
Reggie's
The
is interesting.
Reggie deck. Do you think it's back?
I think people are going to try to make this work. It's a lot. Like I think these decks that play trolley, it's like so dependent on you getting that trolley turn one because getting this card late game kind of sucks. So it's really dependent on if you can start with this. And I think this you're a deck that can realistically attack on a first run in a game, maybe. I don't know. I think it's interesting to say the least. So I think people have been trying to make that deck a little bit more palatable. I think the Pikachu gives that deck some options that it didn't necessarily have before. And I think some people will play it, but I don't know. If I sit down across from Reggie's deck, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm just folding immediately.
I think that is my dark horse, like surprise for San Antonio. I think people will play that deck, just because we haven't seen it happen yet, and it's actually a lot more consistent than you think it is. So, or
Yeah.
not you in general, like you as like the general public.
I do want to give a special shout out to probably my favorite like funny deck I saw this weekend. I am looking at the 32nd place list from Margin. They played on stream in day two. They were playing Cerulege with Palkia, but they're also playing it with 2 metal and 2 psychic energies so that they can use the Raging Amethyst attack with the Crispin. I think that's pretty sick. Like that's this is a funny deck to say the least. I don't know. The poor guy got absolutely like a dog walked on stream, which is upsetting. But man, I see the vision in this list and I kind of dig it. I'm not gonna lie.
I think you just have an obsession with Iron Bundle.
Bundle's cool, man. He's a good card. Getting a push, that's sick.
Yeah, why the psychic in this deck?
So Raging Amethyst is a fire metal.
That's this card here.
Yeah.
The actual Cerulege does 280. So like all the V stars have that, huh? I mean not the V stars, the Terra EX have that.
Yeah, all the Terra Pokemon have a secondary attack, which we pointed out in an earlier episode. Their name features a gemstone, precious gemstone, so that's cool.
I just realized me putting up these things, I just made more work for you.
Yeah, you hate me. It's fine.
I just realized that. I'm just trying to bring some more content here. That's going to be a
Yeah,
pain for you to
it's
edit, isn't it?
nah, it'll be fine. I'm not too pressed about it. But yeah, so there's some interesting stuff here to say the least. Obviously, Ajvin's list was cool. My brain almost fell out of my body when he hit double rare candy off the Pokestop. That was sick. um, Charizard has proven to listen. He did really well with this list in Stuttgart. He did really well this weekend, and he earned his Worlds qualification. So congratulations to him. That's cool stuff.
Yeah, he's really going up the ranks this year. I mean, I was looking earlier. One other call out that I wanted to talk about was a lot of these Reggie Drago decks were not playing Alolan Executor. And it's been a popular topic within our group chat leading up here. What's your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the Alolan Executor? Is it trolling if you don't play it, or do you think it's not, or is it the first cut?
You know, it's interesting. I've haven't. I think this card is good depending on what the meta is. I think when this card was popular in Drago, it's back when like Terapagos Dustnor was like a lot more prevalent. Especially if they're playing the Bufalons, that's the only way you can knock out a Bufal. You can knock out a Terapagos with Reggie Drago. So the swinging speed is good in those matchups, and in theory, it's good into the big basic matchups too. Even though I still think you lose to Raging Bolt anyway, and I think the other two matchups you just win. Like you can just take like 4 prize turns against like Roaring Moon and Miraidon. So I think the more I look at it, it feels more like a crutch card than anything. It's funny because people used to think that Hisui and Gudra is the first dragon you cut here. I think the most superfluous card you can cut is the Alolan Executor. And even looking at again Mr. Worldwide Brent Tonneson with another top 4 finish this weekend. Brent did omit the Alolan Executor from his list, but instead played a counter catcher, which is interesting. And Temple of Sinnoh made its way back in, which is again another fringe card in these decks. So I think if Terapagos is up, if you think that's going to be more popular than it is, then maybe you have to include the Executor. But otherwise, I do think it's probably it's probably the 61st card in your list, maybe.
Yeah, I think you were talking about Iron Bundle being nice to have a push in the deck. Going Rolling Iron or going Dragapult, not taking knockouts, not bringing Fez on, having your opponent take a knockout, maybe not even just in the mirror, even though the mirror probably feels really good to have counter catcher. You could do some pretty cool plays.
Yeah, I just think like these lists are so like regimented by now. It's just like every cut in this deck feels like you're cutting off a limb. Like
Yeah.
some people are big proponents of Halucha. Some people are big proponents of Iron Bundle. I think Iron Bundle is good. If you're playing Reggie Drago to San Antonio this weekend, you have to be looking at how can I get the upper hand in the mirror, because the higher you get on those tables, the more likely you're going to be to hit a Reggie Drago mirror. So I think anything you can do to kind of give yourself the upper edge there is what you have to do. And I think that's what Brent Marley had in mind with the counter catcher. You only play 2 boss and you play 1 prime catcher. You're not going to be able to get everything. You're not going to be able to, get all 3 of those off in any one given game. It's just not always going to happen that way. So I think giving yourself that extra, gusting ability is good, especially in a deck that does perform very well when you're playing from behind. So, it's good. It's interesting stuff. So I'm still not sure. Again, it's just to kind of raise the curtain on me a little bit. I'm probably playing Reggie Drago this weekend, and I'm still unsure of the last, I got like 62 cards in mind that I want to include in my deck. So,
Yeah, I don't mind this one. I think this may be one that's played throughout the group. If I land on it, this might be something I'd be looking into as well. I don't think you really need the Alolan Executor. I don't know. Maybe it's just this meta you don't need it. It's very confusing. It's a hard call to make.
it's tough when there's just so many decks in the field, but I do think that it's probably the most cuttable card on your list right now. I think still only playing 1 Dragapult if you're gonna play no egg is kind of scary, but I think you see what I see what Brent's angle is here. It's like, okay, give yourself an extra gust with counter catcher, respecting the decks like Gardevoir and Raging Bolt with the Jamming Tower as well. Temple of Sinnoh obviously is multi-purposeful with against Lugia and against Terapagos itself. So this list is pretty good. I think it's something
So,
I'm strongly considering too.
so just on the Pokemon side, right? Outside of the Regidrago line and the Ogrepons, what do you think is the next most important Pokemon in the deck?
That's a tough one. I think it has. I think in terms of importance, I think Gudra's. I think the three headed monster itself, Gudra, Giratina, and Dragapult, obviously in some capacity. Maybe you go back to maybe these. Let's go back to two Dragapult. Because you want to guarantee that you're going to be able to get that attack off. So I think all of the Pokemon you see in these lists are all like locks. I think Pokemon like you've seen some lists cut Pheasantipity. You've seen some lists don't play Cleffa, which I think is wrong personally.
I was gonna say that was gonna be my answer. I think Cleffa might be the next most important card.
I think so too. Yeah, Cleffa's. I think Cleffa's a guarantee, man. Like that card is incredibly strong, especially again if you're going to be playing a lot of mirrors. The guy that gets to go second is the guy that's like, okay, hopefully I get to get the Clef off this turn. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see. Again, the group chat's gonna have to come to a consensus about this at some point. So I think we'll probably try to iron that out tomorrow. And I don't have to commentate tomorrow, so chicken wonton tacos. So.
Chicken wonton tacos. Chicken wonton tacos.
But yeah, Birmingham was a lot of fun to watch. Andrew's very sad that Terapagos Palkia is now out in the open right now. So I guess his cat's out of the bag of what he might be playing.
Yeah.
Tough stuff. So good regional. A lot of fun to watch. Shout outs to Charizard for getting the job done.
Charizard's up there with regional wins now too, by the way.
Deck's always going to be good, man. Until they yank that deck out of your cold dead hands, that deck's always going to be good at what it does. So
Yeah.
it's like Gardevoir. You're just going to have to retool a couple times, and then you'll be fine. Deck's good. All right, George, you ready to get to the fun part of today's episode?
Let's do it.
So we've now moved on to everyone's favorite segment of the show, at least ours, is Squawk or Seize, everybody's favorite this or that question game. Each week, me and George will come to a predetermined topic and ask each other, hey, what are your thoughts on this? It's fun. It's a way to get to know us better. It's a way for us to kind of, meld our brains a little bit. So now this is topical in the sense that shout out to our friend Andrew, who is a child and has not seen a lot of mine and George's favorite movies. And also we're about to fly on a plane. George, are you a movie on a plane guy?
All the time. That's my bread and butter.
Yeah,
and
we're doing comedy movies this week.
We're flying United, so we will have some movies.
I will be watching a movie for sure on the plane.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I have to charge my headphones before we leave in a couple of days.
I have my wired ones that I use for the podcast. I love these things.
Shout us to wired. Listen, shout us to wired headphones. So this week we're doing comedy movies. I just figured it'd be something that's fun to watch, fun to talk about. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite movies. So George, Colt Taker, are you a comedy guy?
I love comedies. This is gonna be hard, right? Because I feel like I know all the ones you're gonna squawk already, so it's gonna be hard to stay away from those. I got to find some obscure titles to see if we align anywhere.
Yeah, it's gonna be again. This is one of the biggest reasons why we're friends is because we liked a lot of the same stuff. So this is gonna be
all right.
This might be a real cakewalk. So I'll open the floor to you.
Yeah, well, let's just get this one out. This isn't even a real one, but we have to say it to the GOAT, Anchorman.
Squawk.
We're squawking
10
that.
10.
Yeah. It's the best song of all. Best movie of all time.
It's like
not even the best comedy.
In terms of just like movies that never fail to make me laugh, no matter how many times I've seen it. This is the one. I can watch I've watched Anchorman maybe 100 times. I still laugh as hard as I did the first time I watched it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love quoting that movie, man. All right, so real quick before I pick another one, what do you think is like the year that's a cutoff for you that like you probably haven't seen it? Because I'm not that much older than you, but I'm a little bit older than you.
I've watched a lot of like I watched a lot of like stuff in like the mid '90s and stuff like the like not to name picks, but like those like coming of age like teenage movies, some stuff from the '80s. I'm familiar with. I'm a film guy, so I watch a lot of like older stuff. To kind of get back there. So
This is definitely gonna be a squawk fest. I don't know. I'm trying to get. All right, I don't know if you've ever seen this one, but it's one of my favorite. Um, I don't know if you've seen it. Office Space.
I love Office Space.
Okay, good.
I'm squawking that one. That's a good one. I haven't seen it in a while, but that is a movie that I very much enjoy.
I just watched it the other day again, man. And he's like,
Oh, it's so good.
but he's like, anybody ever ask you if you have a case of the Mondays? Nah, shit, nah, man. Get your ass kicked, asking something like that, man.
It's so good. Mike Judge is just a genius, man. This movie is so funny.
Yeah.
I meant to put. I haven't seen that one in a while. All right, I'm gonna give you one that I really like. That I also haven't seen in a while, but it's it was one of those just like me coming of age like movies that I probably was a little bit too young to be watching, but I did it anyway. Old School.
Oh, you're my boy, Blue.
You're my
You're my
boy,
boy.
Blue.
Dude, you just took one to the jugular. I like you, man, but you're crazy, man. Oh yeah, squawking that one to the moon. Frank, don't take.
It's so good, man.
What? I don't know how we're gonna seize anything here, but yeah, that's a big squawk for me. Honestly, don't ask me anywhere Will Ferrell movies because if you don't know me by now, I'm the biggest Will Ferrell fan. So
Yeah,
I love,
those are all easy squawks for me.
I all easy. Like I don't think there's one Will Ferrell movie that I don't like.
Yeah.
All right. Um, let's see, man. I want to like say a controversial one that like. All right, so like if we're seizing it, it can't be in your like top 25.
Sure. That's
All
fine.
right,
Yeah.
because
that's
like
fine.
you have to like cut. You have to have a point, right?
Yeah.
All right. How about? This is so hard though. All right, this is actually going. I think it's a great movie. I don't think I'd put it in my top 25. The Big Lebowski.
Ooh, that's a good point. It's a good movie, and it's actually my roommate's favorite movie. Shout out to my roommate Julio. That's his favorite movie of all time. Uh it's not in my top 25 either. So I think out of principle, I have to seize it. It's a great movie though. I think it's if you haven't seen it, go out of your way to see it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is very good. It's kind of just a little too long for me though. That's what I don't like about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those ones you kind of look down at your watch and you're like, oh, this is still going on. Like
Yeah.
that's a tough one. Okay, this is all right. I'm just kind of going through a list here of ones that are not in my top 25 either, but I think are I think are good movies. This is interesting. I had a good one here. Okay. Are we gonna squawk or seize? Yeah, this definitely is in my top 25. Wedding Crashers.
Oh, you're like, I said don't pick a Will Ferrell, but a Vince
Oh,
Vaughn
I
film.
okay, I forgot he's in that movie for a
He's in
second.
it, yeah, he is in it. But it's more of a Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson vehicle, which they're up there on like the buddy movies of all time. So I am squawking wedding. That's Wedding Crashers.
Okay.
Oh,
More
man.
meatloaf.
Living the dream, baby. Living the dream.
This is tough, man. We like a lot. We like a lot of movies. We're very simple people. So
Yeah, I mean, I just love Will Ferrell. All right, that's fair
true.
though. That's good. That one was, I would say, that is brink of top 25 for me though. I would say that's like in the late teens for me. So,
Yeah.
if I had to like do a quick list, I'm trying to go to like older stuff that like isn't like exactly from like our like prime teenage years, so that like
Yeah.
because like the stuff from your prime teenage years is just like always so funny, right?
Yeah.
Um, how about Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective?
Man, you I don't even know. I'm hesitating. I love this movie. This might be one of my top 5 comedies of all time.
Yeah, it's okay.
There was a period of time where like this movie was on cable all the time growing up. This movie changed my life when I watched it as like a 4th or 5th grader. It is it is so it's aged like milk. It is
Yeah.
not. It is. There's some very problematic stuff in this movie. So I want to get out front and say that. I acknowledge that. However, for the period, it's great, man. Like Jim Carrey is just in his bag. Like you with Will Ferrell's like me with Jim Carrey. Like most of his movies, I'm just gonna enjoy. So, but yes, I could. It's stupid fish. Like it gets me like all the time. Like soundproof glass. Oh, it's just like it's so. It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah,
but
it's great, dude.
yeah, squawking it, but man, it's with an asterisk. This movie is aged terribly.
Yeah,
It's a tough one.
yeah. Trying to get you canceled.
Yeah, that's not on my watch, pal. All right, let's see. Okay, this is kind of this is a bit of a maybe not our demographic, but a tough one. White chicks.
I knew this was gonna come up, dude. I just saw a clip of this the other day of like Terry Crews coming in to like the white party that they're at. He's like, "Man, it is snowing up in here." I'm like, dude, it's so. How'd you know? It's my favorite song. Like Terry Crews is, I think he makes the movie more than anything.
I agree.
But is that top 25 for me? I don't know. That one,
It's fringe. It's tough.
I'm gonna have to seize it. I'm gonna have to seize White Chicks. That's such a tough one for me. I quoted that one so much, but I just think there's like I'm looking at this list that I'm looking at. I'm like, there's so many more that I would pick over. Like 9 Will Ferrell movies off the jump in front of it. So like, yeah, White Chick. But I do love the Wayans brothers. I think they're hilarious. Scary
They're
movies like that series.
Oh my god,
they're
classic.
fantastic. Yeah, they're very very good. So. I hate to seize that one, but I think you give me no choice. All right. So we gotta call this guy out on one of his movies. I'm gonna pick my favorite one of the bunch. Adam Sandler's Billy Madison.
Ooh, wow, that's a tough one. See, I'm a big Adam Sandler guy, and then shout out to Emily. She's also a huge Adam Sandler guy. So, that's tough. I don't. Out of all the ones that I go back to watch, Billy Madison is actually the one I go back and watch the least.
Really?
I watch, yeah. Like I watch like Happy Gilmore. I'll watch. Oh my god. I watch Big Daddy a lot. Like
Big Daddy's the Water Boy.
Yeah, the Water Boy's a classic. Like,
Yeah.
I like Billy Madison. Back to school. I think at a principle though, it is not in my top 25. I will be seizing Billy Madison.
What is his name? The actor and Tommy Boy. Why is he
Chris Farley?
Chris Farley's hilarious in that. Like,
God rest his soul. No longer with us.
That is correct.
All right, we'll do one more each.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick from a pool of an actor who I really enjoy, and this movie might not even be one of my favorite ones, but I think it's fun for the content. Are you gonna squawk or seize The School of Rock with Mr. Jack Black?
Yeah, that's an easy seize for me. You know, it's not that I don't like it, and I'm just.
It's very Nickelodeon. It's very family friendly.
I'm not a Jack Black truther like a lot of people.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I do find him funny though, and I do appreciate him. He's just. I just like a lot of other comedic actors over him. So that is an easy seize for me. But School of Rock it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of heat for that one, but yeah, Jack Black is not like my go-to. Like new Black movie drops, I need to go watch it immediately. That's not how I feel.
You won't be watching the Minecraft movie then.
But you know what? I thought he did such a good job as Bowser, though.
He was really good.
Like the Peaches song just goes so hard. I think like his singing is like more hilarious than anything.
Oh, Tenacious D,
And
bro, one of the best of all
I know,
time.
and
So.
that's what School Rock is all about. So I'm like just being, ironic there completely, and or not ironic. What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever, you know what I mean.
I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you
All
know
right,
what I'm saying.
yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's end this one with a good one, huh? Um, all right. This one's like a really oddball one. It's like because of it's not like a regular film like human actors. I don't even know what if it's puppets or claymation or a little bit of both.
I know exactly
But
what you're gonna
Team
say.
America World Police.
Wow, that's a choice. I've only seen this movie once, and and I haven't seen it in like close to 10 years. It was fine. It's like it came out at a time where these movies were very popular. I'm going to see it though. I'm good.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. You might get canceled if you squawk that
no,
one.
I'm good. It was fine for the time, but Mike Judge, man, he's we're gonna bookend it with with him there. I will say though, like if so, but because we obviously like have a lot of similar tastes. Like if I had to pick three of these movies to watch the rest of my life and never get sick of them, Anchorman's definitely one of them.
Yep, that'd be my number one as well.
Yeah, I think it's a toss up between. It would probably be. I'm torn between Step Brothers and the other guys. I'm a big Will Ferrell guy as well. I think in terms like I quote these movies so much. I think I might lean the other guys just because it's like it's a movie that's I watch with my dad a lot.
Yeah,
It's very funny and one of my favorites of all time. I'm a big Rush Hour 2 guy.
I was gonna give you a Rush Hour. And I decided not to. I was like, I don't know.
Oh no, the Rush Hour franchise is one of my like favorite like action movie franchises of all time.
I saw them all in movie theaters growing up. They were fantastic.
Wow, I watch these movies. I love these movies. Rush Hour is phenomenal. So
I mean, one just honorable mention that like I didn't say either because I just knew what your answer was. I think it might be, I put Anchorman and then it's like a big gap, right? And then what the next best movie for me would be, it's probably Dodgeball, True Underdog Story.
yeah,
I
Dodgeball
love
might be
that
one
movie.
of the most quotable movies of all time.
Yeah,
Like-
it's so good. I think that's what makes a movie great, though, right? If you could just quote it, just like that's a big part of our friendship. Like we just go back and forth and just quote like lines
Yeah.
of movies,
we just black out and start talking in movie quotes for like 20 minutes. Like,
and then we do the same thing with memes. We just have terrible brain rot. That's what it is.
no, our ADHD's off the chain, and we should definitely get that looked at. But that's gonna be it for this week's episode. So again, we're gonna do what we usually do in the week leading up to a regional. We're gonna get this out a little bit earlier than we usually do. We're gonna try to get this out by Thursday. So no promises, but we'll see what happens.
You could do
But
it.
I'll be fine. There's no late night tomorrow, so I can do this tomorrow and Thursday. I got time. Anyway, we're gonna be in San Antonio this weekend. So if you guys watch our podcast and you're not in our immediate circle and you want to say hi to us, come say hi. I got this sweet and shout out to the Shuffle Squad. They hooked it up with a new hoodie that I will most likely be wearing on Saturday. So if you guys recognize me and George, don't hesitate to come say hi. It's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be. I have to pack.
You got time. It's only Tuesday.
I know, but I'm so bad at this. I do this every time I go on a trip.
To be frank with you, I don't know what I'm bringing on the trip until I bring it the night before. So
Yeah, it'll be fun. So George, let the people know where they can locate you.
on X, on Twitter, whatever you call it, Pony Bottle Champ. I've been very inactive lately. I need to step up my Twitter game, or on PTCGL, like I always say. Let's play some games. Let's practice.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on the internet at Koopa NJ. Again, come say hi this weekend. I'm just looking forward to hanging with the boys, eating some barbecue, and playing some Pokemon. So that's gonna be it for us this week, folks. And we'll see you next week. Have yourselves a wonderful night.
But
Oh my God.